like I've been watching Euphoria. I enjoyed season one. I'm enjoying season two like a lot. But after watching this episode, I think it's episode five. Um, we have to admit that Rue kind of sucks, right? Like as a human being, she fucking sucks, dude. She's awful. She's an awful person, and I know that a lot of people will point to, well, she is an addict, and people who are addicts do anything to get a fix. They can be unstable emotionally at times, and I get that. Oh shit, let's make this bigger. I get that. I have a family member, and I hate when people say family member, they don't specify. My grandmother is a drug addict. Gotta say is because, what she taught me is once you're a drug addict, you're really always a drug addict. It's just about controlling your impulses and making sure you don't fall back off the wagon. So, but that aside, okay? That aside. The reason why I say Rue is an asshole is because I feel like even without being a drug addict, she would probably be an insufferable human being to like be around. And I'm going to try to, ooh, that looks bad. Come on. There you go. Okay. And I'm going to try to I basically just give you a rundown of this episode. And I'm going to be like pointing out reasons as to why Rue is an asshole. Okay. So the episode starts with Rue's mom calling her out for her drug use, right? As you guys have known, if you've been watching, she's been parading herself as just someone who smokes weed, which, I mean, come on, dude. Anybody who would take a look at Rue outside of Euphoria land would recognize that she's definitely on more than just weed. But her mom calls her out, and she goes absolutely, like, ballistic. She goes crazy, dude. Like, she goes, my goodness. That was some great acting. I'm not going to lie. Zendaya, you're awesome. But she goes absolutely ballistic. And, she starts saying a bunch of really fucked up shit, dude. And she starts to, she physically attacks her mom at one point. And, threatens her. She breaks a door. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad, and it gets worse when she finds out that... So she was originally accusing her sister of diming her out, and it turns out it wasn't her sister. It was our girl Jules. And Jules is my favorite character. I feel so bad for her, though. Because I know she loves Rue, and I'm starting to feel like she doesn't love Rue in, a romantic way, because Rue's an addict, right? The only thing Rue gets joy from is drugs, and Jules is very sexually liberated, so being with someone who, only gets pleasure from drugs, you can't share that part of yourself with them, and I can see how that would be a big deal. So I don't think Jules is in love with Rue in a romantic way, or if it is romantic, it's divorced from sex or Rue's sexuality, which, I mean, whatever she is, who the fuck knows? I don't know at this point. But anyways, so Jules is the one that dimes her out. As we know, the guy that Rue has been doing drugs with, him and Jules kind of start to have a thing for each other, and he decides to do what he considers to be the right thing and tell Jules that Rue's not sober, and Jules takes that to heart and tells Rue's mom, as I feel like she should have. Being a great friend, if your friend is on drugs, you can't just let them be on drugs, right? You have to try something, even, obviously everything has its end point. There is a line, and I think Rue crossed that line today. So what she did is she goes on this relapse, or not relapse, because she already relapsed. She goes on this I need drugs right now field trip. Because her mom and Jules, I'm assuming, flushed all the drugs that she had in the suitcase down the toilet. And if you've been watching, the drug dealer with chronic fatigue, the teacher or whatever, she gave her those drugs to sell. And now Rue can't sell those drugs, so she can't pay that lady back. I don't know what her plan was with the drugs anyways, because it looks like she got the drugs just so she can do them. I don't think she ever really expected to like give this lady the money that she was supposed to have for selling the drugs. So that part kind of weirded me out, how she reacted. Like, I need those drugs. Those drugs aren't mine. Well, you weren't really putting in any kind of work to sell the drugs. So, like, I assumed that she just wasn't going to pay the lady back. But whatever. Because you know how, some addicts, they don't really think things through. Even though Rue's very intelligent. Or so that's what she's told us. She's still an addict, so she's not really thinking things through. So I never expected her to pay that lady back. So it's actually surprising that a part of her reaction was the thought of not being able to pay that lady back. So she goes on like this I need drugs field trip, and she ends up at Cassie's house. Cassie and her sister. I forget her sister's name. She has a thing with Fez, or a thing for Fez, I think. They haven't been together since episode 1. They need to do something about that. But she goes to Cassie's house, and she tries to steal drugs from her friend. And her mom, like, knowing her daughter and knowing her patterns, she shows up there, right? So now you get this very, very, or for me at least, uncomfortable scene where it's this mixed teen, this black woman and her daughter, or they're all her daughters, or both of them are her daughter, in this like white family's home, and it just, it's so cringe just to watch. Oh man, just that was the cringiest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like legit the cringiest shit. Dude, my head is so fucking crooked. That was the cringiest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I did not enjoy that one bit. It was excellent acting, and excellent direction, but it gave me like, ugh. Just, I did not like seeing that. But Rue, in her disgust, dimes out Cassie for sleeping with Nate. And as you know, Cassie's best friends, that's gross. Cassie's best friends with Nate's ex. And I think they just got back together, actually. And this becomes like a side big deal, right? So there's Rue and her breakdown. And obviously the girls, I don't think they're actually friends with Rue. So it doesn't seem like they actually care about Rue's deal after Rue dimes Cassie out. Which, by the way, Cassie, like, it's hard to like her, right? Because she wants, like, she craves Nate's attention so badly that she was willing to, like, blackmail him into, like, staying with her. And if you know anything about Nate, I don't even think Nate's trying to get back together with his ex. I think he's just trying to get that CD or whatever. But that's beside the point. He's showing her that he only wants her for one thing. And even that, he can take it or leave it. And she's so desperate for his love and attention that she just bends over backwards. It's just, it's gross, but you know that there are people like that. So once again, the actress is doing a great job. Rue ends up conveniently coming across this couple who, like, they left. I have a bunch of problems with this. They left their home before and they left before the garage door went down. I don't know about you, but like, I don't know anyone who does that. Like, no one does that. That's not a real thing. I didn't understand that. It made no sense to me. But anyway, so Rue lumbers on in, and I'm going to comment on her lumbering in a second because this is the most, like, unbelievable thing about this entire, like, episode, which was a great episode. Probably one of my favorites. Anyway, so she sneaks in this couple's house, and she goes upstairs, and she goes upstairs to steal shit, right? There's this dog. His name is Harold. He's cool. It's not like the stereotypical dog scene where, oh, the robber snuck into the wrong house because there's a ferocious dog. This dog is, like, sweet. I'm surprised they didn't have a sweater on this dog, how sweet he was. But anyways, so she steals jewelry. That's what she starts with, and they kept like a couple $100 just laying around, and she finds a safe. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had a safe with money in it, I think it was $2,000, which, by the way, this couple looked pretty loaded all you're gonna keep in the safe is $2,000. Like, come on, really? Anyways, so I'm mad because this couple's like password to their safe was 111. Dude, what? 111. You deserve it. To me, now you deserve it. You deserve to get your stuff stolen now because the password to your safe is 111. Like, that's it for me. Whatever amount of empathy or sympathy I would have had for that couple is maybe sympathy because I used to live in a house that got broken into and they stole all our shit. But I don't have that for that couple because their password was 1111. That's so fucking stupid. That's incredibly stupid. That's mind-boggling stupid. But anyway, so she steals what she figures is $3,000 worth of stuff from this. That's the money and the jewelry included. I don't know how she decided that the jewelry was only worth $1,000. Just sounds like a number she was throwing out there. But remember, she owes this drug dealer lady with chronic fatigue syndrome money. So not making fun of it, but if you watch the episode, this lady's clearly like she has no energy for anything. But anyways, so the couple comes back, right? And Rue hides under the bed. And the lady goes upstairs, she takes her shoes off, and then she goes in her bathroom. She looks down, and she notices that some jewelry is missing. Now, what kills me is she immediately concluded that they've been robbed. Like, maybe you dropped it somewhere. You don't want to look for it first. You don't think you just dropped it somewhere, or, maybe it's, under the sink or whatever. Like, you don't want to at least take a look before you go to someone robbed us. But anyways, that's what she jumps to. Someone robbed us. Get the gun, right? And as soon as she says that, the husband like bends over and he looks under the bed where Rue is hiding. And that was my favorite part because that never happens in movies or TV shows. Like, oh, I think someone's in the house. Hey, check under the bed, dude. That's like the first place people go. But anyway, so he did check under the bed, and somehow Rue was able to get from under the bed to the front door, out the front door, and she lumbers along down the street. Now, if you've seen Rue run, quotes over running, she's not very fast. Like, she runs like someone who was wearing high heels and one of the high heels got like broken. Like, you ever seen women like run and then a high heel breaks and now they're like it almost looks like they're limping a little bit when they're running. That's how she looks when she's running all of the time. So what I'm going to tell you next is even more just indefensible. Once again, one of my favorite episodes, but this made no sense. So she lumbers down the street and a cop car starts to go across, and a cop sees her and asks her if she's okay. And in the middle of trying to play it off like, oh, I'm fine, she throws up. Now, I don't know what protocol is for cops, and it may be because Rue definitely looks like a drug addict. That is the reason as to why they decided to stop and kind of chase after her, or at least tell her to stop. But she throws up, and now it's a big deal. Now it's a chase scene with the cops, right? Now, I don't know you, but I feel like if I saw a cop and they asked me how I was doing and I threw up, it's natural for them to check on you, but I don't think it's natural for them to, as soon as you move away, oh, we got a runner. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But anyways, so there's this great chase scene. And the reason why it's great is because it's ridiculous. Rue is so slow, it's hard to believe that even, a moderately out-of-shape cop couldn't just catch her in, 5 seconds. Rue, she starts to climb over things. I don't know where they live, but every house has a gate apparently. So she starts to climb over things, and she's evading the cops, and it's enthralling. Watching it, I was like, yo, I don't believe this, but this is awesome, right? That's just what I thought. And anyway, so there's this great chase scene. she gets to a point to where it's not a dead end, but there is a busy street, and the cops are right behind her. And she takes like the leap of faith, and she like goes in the middle of the street to avoid the cops, but there are cars coming every which way. She gets to a point to where she gets halfway to the other end of the street, or the other side of the street, and her being there causes a car accident. At first, I was like on the fence of, okay, maybe they should stop chasing her. It's not a big deal. She just threw up, like whatever. But after that happens, I'm like, okay, she has to be stopped now, right? Because she caused a car accident. Those people could be dead for all we know. So that point, like now I'm on the cop side. I'm like, okay, you got to catch her now. Like she's a danger to the public, dude. Like obviously she was before, like sneaking into people's houses and shit. But she's rude. She's not actually gonna hurt anyone. But they don't know that. So that's a fair rebuttal if anyone wanted to make it. So I'm like, okay, she has to be stopped now. But she keeps getting away. And she does it by hiding in truck beds. By the way, this town that they live in, for some reason, everyone has a dog. She runs into, like, at least, I lost count, like 10 dogs from the time that she broke into that house to the time she ran away. And she gets away by hiding in a trash can. Now, speaking of Harold, have you ever watched Hey Arnold? There was an episode. It's an episode that's near and dear to my heart. I think it's the episode when I think it was the fifth graders, or I think it was the fifth graders or the sixth graders. I forget. But it's called like Dumping Day or something like that. I forget the exact name for it, but it's basically when the older kids dump the younger kids in trash cans because it's Hey Arnold and that's the world they live in. So she hides in a trash can. By the way, watch that episode. That's a great episode of Hey Arnold. Like it's so awesome. Anyways, so she gets away from the cops by hiding in a trash can. And what happens next surprises me. I left some. She actually tried to get a fix from Fez. Shout out Fez. Fez, you're my guy. She tries to get a fix from Fez, and Fez can see that, you know, it's not healthy for Rue to be there, and she tries to steal drugs from this other lady that's living with Fez now. And Fez just told her it's just not the right thing to do. Fez is a great guy, dude. He has to be like the most I don't actually want to deal drug dealers I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, he deals drugs, but that's kind of because all he knows. That's because that's all he knows. But you can tell he kind of just doesn't want to deal drugs. He's really not into it. But anyways, this is kind of where things turn. So I should have brought this up before I got to her getting away from the cops. She turns on Fez, which surprised me. When Fez wouldn't let her take the drugs. She tries to, she does assault him, basically. And Fez isn't having it. He's like, okay, you gotta go. You gotta go. And Rue's on like this power trip, dude. Rue thinks she's like Thanos. She's like threatening her mom. It seems like she's invincible. The episode before, I think she put that guy, her sponsor, down or something like that. And she just wasn't afraid of him. So she's on a power trip a little bit. She thinks she can beat up everyone. That might be the drugs, but whatever. So she attacks Fez. Fez is like, you gotta get the fuck out. And he gets her the fuck out, basically, you know? He does it as politely as anyone that I've ever seen get assaulted could do in that situation, or would do in that situation. So shout out to him. He's the forever gentleman. He's the Don Quixote of this show. But anyways, jumping forward. So after she gets away from the cops, she does something surprising to me. She goes to the drug dealer's house, right? The drug dealer with chronic fatigue syndrome or whatever. She was a former teacher. And it's funny because I thought that she was taking the money and stealing the jewelry for herself so she can go buy more drugs. Turns out what she really was doing was taking that stuff so she can give to the drug dealer because she owes the drug dealer money. I don't know exactly how much money she owes her. I would presume that it's a lot because she had a suitcase full of drugs and she bought what she thought was $3,000 worth of stuff. And the drug dealer lady was like, okay, well, when are you going to pay me back my rest? She's saying this as nicely as she possibly can. She's really cool. She's a really nice, I mean, I guess as cool as a former teacher turned drug dealer could be, but she's really nice and seems very empathetic to Rue and her plight, if you will. But she's a drug dealer nonetheless, so she's gonna need her money. Like, and she made that pretty clear. Like, you need to give me the rest of my money. But she doesn't say it that way. She's really, really nice about it. But Rue, really, she's about to have, she's going through withdrawals. And if you've ever dealt with someone or been around someone that's a drug dealer, that's addicted to drugs, withdrawals are no joke. And people can die from withdrawals, right? So this lady gives Rue morphine to kind of, help her out, I guess. And in return, Rue sneaks out of this lady's house. So now it's really up in the air whether or not she's going to pay this lady back. But this lady's definitely going to be a problem at some point. And, and she does have a legitimate gripe. Like, I mean, first of all, she shouldn't have gave Rue drugs anyways, because it's clear in their conversation that she knows Rue is like an addict. But it's whatever. She gave her a product. She didn't deliver. Now there's going to be some, there's going to be hell to pay. And this lady doesn't seem like the kind of person you want to mess with because she's very nice, right? That's the scary thing. If she was just I'm going to kill everybody kind of drug dealer, the stereotype drug dealer, then, that would be one thing. But she's like really chill. She's very understanding. She kind of just moves at this like relaxed pace, and that scares the shit out of me. So it should scare the shit out of Rue. So Rue gets away. She sneaks out of the house, and the next scene is like someone opens the door, and you only see her mom, and her mom's like, Rue. I don't think that's Rue. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's Rue. I don't know where Rue went, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't home. But anyways, that's the entire recap of this episode. My takeaway is Rue sucks, dude. Rue sucks and she needs help. But that doesn't change the fact that Rue sucks. Like, as a person, Rue seems like a very shitty human being. The things that she said to Jules, granted, once again, I've been in contact with a drug addict. I know what it's like. Whenever they're going through withdrawals or whenever they are hot, they say things that they might mean, but they say it in ways that they probably wouldn't, say it. Their delivery is much different than it would be if they were not drug addicts. And I get that. That's understandable. But Rue kind of blames everyone for her problems, and she does nothing to help herself. In fact, she's kind of a threat to everyone around her. She's dangerous. She's a dangerous person because she's an addict. I get that. I really understand that. But there are people around her that are really trying to help her. And as someone who's been in a situation where they're dealing with someone who is a drug addict, we often try to empathize with the addict to the extent that we forget that there are people around that addict that also pay for the choices that addict makes, and we don't offer them the same amount of empathy. Oftentimes I see that, and that sucks because it's hard. It's hard to be around someone who's like that. It's hard to look at your loved one and know that they're not okay and they're a threat to you. They're a danger to you. Right? So that's just my little thing. Hopefully this gets better. Euphoria is an insane show. I love it, actually. But my least favorite character is the character that I feel like the show wants me to empathize the most with. And I just can't, dude. Like I said, Jules is my favorite character. Focus more on Jules. Jules is interesting. Even Nate. Nate's interesting. Fez is really interesting. Nate's dad is very interesting. it's hard to feel bad for like someone who has done such monstrous things, but I kind of feel bad for him, you know, his predicament, you know, the way his life started and the way it turned out. I kind of do feel bad for him. Even with the Jules thing in mind, I do still kind of feel bad for him, but that's beside the point. It was a great episode. If you have not watched it, you probably should. If you have not watched the show, what are you doing? Watch it. Watch the show. All right, that's it. I got back on live just to talk about this because I just got through the episode. But you guys take a look at it. Let me know how you feel about it. Like and subscribe or whatever people are supposed to say and do.